filmed the wall in the desert in the back of Los Angeles in Lancaster. But it was a very minimal crew, you know. I think it was only sort of a 60-man crew, and it was one location for the whole film. So we felt like we're sort of in our little bubble, in our little hub out in the middle of nowhere, really, fighting against the sandstorms and the heat.
The one thing about the desert outside LA is there's a sandstorm that kicks in every day, usually around noon or 1 o'clock. At that point, the temperature is at least 110 degrees. And then the wind kicks up to maybe 30 to 50 miles an hour. And it's like that for the whole rest of the day. So in a way, it felt like you were just being blasted by the world's biggest hairdryer with someone throwing sand into it. I loved it because it visually looked amazing. We weaved it into the story. The sandstorms play a big part. And the scale of it is just not something you could ever create yourself. What Mother Nature can do just goes so far beyond what a film crew, even with an amazing special effects department, could possibly do.
I mean, this is not an ideal setting, as you can tell with the dust. It's really, really fine, and after about 10 hours, it gets really, really irritating, but everybody knuckles up. It's a group effort, but it starts at the top, and Doug's a fantastic leader for the project.
John Cena plays the second soldier, and he's mortally shot early in the film and is trapped in front of the wall, so he has no cover.
No, I'm good.
And John Cena just happened to be there where we positioned him. His face is facing right into the direction of the wind, and he's not wearing glasses, nor is Aaron. The rest of us are in goggles and covered head to toe like we're on the surface of Mars. He literally looked like he was just beaten down. I might have felt guilty if my first concern weren't for the movie. The script of The Wall was kind of an artsy script in that it's one actor in one location trapped behind a wall.
It was kind of coming across a bit too much like a theater piece, really. I mean, it was like one location and kind of focused on this one guy. It was really beautiful and it unraveled all these layers, but it was one great big scene. Doug, being brilliant and genius, structured it so that the character actually was motivated to drive into the next scene.
I took the script and the story and I sort of broke it down into 10-minute sections, because also I have a very short attention span. And I kind of need to know what's going on, what am I hoping happens, or what am I hoping that doesn't happen. So basically, every 10 minutes over the course of the movie, there's a gear shift.
This is the scene where he's got to get cover, and he gets cover. This is the scene where he's got to attend to the leg. This is the scene where he's trying to get the radio to work.
Requesting extraction! He hit my fucking antenna!
There wasn't a second where you can not focus on this character and what's his next move and what's going through his head at this, because the camera doesn't actually leave him.
I told you, Isaac, I want to get to know you.
I was so fixated on Aaron Taylor Johnson, I wasn't really thinking about the fact that there's a voice that's on the radio that's a major character. It's the voice of the Iraqi sniper, it's the villain.
If I were you, I would start talking, Isaac.
Dave Bartis came to me one day and he's like, you know, you can't just have like a script supervisor reading those lines of dialogue. You're not gonna get the best performance out of Aaron. We need to cast somebody.
Hey, motherfucker, you wanna talk? What's up?
You want to know about the weapon I'm using?
What do you fucking see, huh? You wanna kill me? You want me dead?
Cut. It's been great so far. Really great. Our second 11-page dialogue day in a row with Aaron, and he's been totally nailing it.
I just learned so much. That's what I really take from doing these jobs. It's like, for me, it's the experience, and this experience was just one of a kind and extraordinary. What we got was the ultimate Doug Liman movie that we all wanted to get, and it worked beautifully, and it was nice to be just a part of that whole process.
2 cameras, a marker.
Something's not right. Hey, eyes. Just checked at the south. Oh!
The Wall sort of explores how, in war, strangers are murdering each other. And so The Wall's really about struggle of survival of an American soldier who's pinned down by an Iraqi sniper. Basically, the Iraqi sniper's trying to murder him.
Oh! Oh! Oh!
Oftentimes, there's sides to war that are just ugly and disgusting and manipulative. You gain the advantage any way you can in some cases.
I'm looking at him right now. It would be so easy to tear his face off.
His family won't recognize him.
I think as a writer, you have a responsibility to understand what these soldiers go through, because with what we see with PTSD and what happens to a lot of soldiers, it's important to try to convey these stories in a very realistic way.
I spent 2 months meeting up with a lot of veterans that had been in Iraq and Afghanistan, and quite a lot, were wounded. Just to be around those guys really gave me a huge insight to the mentality, but also the sort of bravado.
Keep coming, man! You're almost there!
And then sniper school, training with the sort of guns that they'll be using, shooting the M24, which I shoot in this film.
This guy was running for the wall. It was a headshot. It was just down. If you were running and you got shot in the head.
What it looked like?
Yeah.
Arms down to the side, everything just collapses.
We hired as a technical advisor, a sniper who had done a number of tours of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan. His nickname is the Reaper.
Good. 3rd Ranger Battalion, Special Operations, Direct Action Unit, 75th Ranger Regiment, and I earned the nickname the Reaper after about a 3-month deployment to Afghanistan as a sniper. This movie reminds me a lot of a situation I was in Afghanistan, pinned down by a Chechen sniper for about 12 hours.
He ain't a threat to you anymore, just fucking let him go!
Every part of the day, I was asking him about this or that, or how would I hold this, or how would I say this.
Like the crack bang theory, what does that entail? And you know, you hear the snap of the bullet, then you count the seconds. It's just almost like lightning and thunder, just a different formula.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, bang.
I'm really interested in the story of struggle and survival. In the case of The Wall, it's by far the most challenging situation I've ever put a character in. And then we watch over the next hour and a half him muster every resource and strength, intelligence to survive something that really is not survivable.
We got no movement, not a sign of a shadow. How long we been here, man? 18 plus?
20. Jeez.
You'd think that casting The Wall might be on the easier side of casting because there's only 2 roles, Lieutenant Matthews and Isaac. But the flip side is that, you know, if Aaron Taylor Johnson or the character of 𝐈𝐧𝐼 is going to be on screen for 90% of the movie, the whole movie lives or dies on that person in a way that there's nothing I can do to compensate for it. And there's no formula to how you find that person.
I fell in love with the script instantly. Like, I fell in love with the character. I think it was written beautifully, and the idea of it just seemed very extreme and challenging and exciting. And before you read the script, there's this little synopsis of, you know, what it's about and who's shooting it, and it was Doug Liman. And I knew the moment I finished that last page, it was like, I want to do this. It's something I want to do, and how do I find Doug Liman?
Aaron Taylor Johnson actually flew himself to New York to meet with me, and he just basically forced himself into my life and showed me in that first meeting, it wasn't just his tenacity. He was right for the part. Aaron was like, I've already memorized the whole script, and he brings both the movie star quotient, which is that you just root for him, and the other thing that was really important for me is, though I don't necessarily subscribe to it in my own personal life, there is that adage of, you know, it's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game. And I really wanted The Wall to embrace that. Whether he survives at the end of the movie or doesn't survive at the end of the movie, I wanted the audience to have this sense of that was a game well played. And Aaron brought that dignity. And then not only was Aaron able to show me that here in this office, but he was able to deliver under these unbelievably harsh conditions of 110 degrees and 50-mile-an-hour winds blasting sand in his face. As audiences will see when they see the movie, he delivers all the way to their multiplexes or their homes or wherever they're watching the movie. There's only 2 actors on screen in the movie.
I'll see you, man!
John Cena and Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Aaron was very adamant about establishing a relationship, and now when I watch the movie back, I can see why. His experience shines through in his performance. He was brilliant, but also going above and beyond, being like, hey, we need to hang out. I need to know about you. You need to know about me. Because those moments where you see the 2 interact are very important for the story of the film.
They were amazing together. They're so different in the best possible way. I just hit the jackpot.